Okay, guys, I guess this is kind of a little bit of an update. Um, so, yesterday I was talking about the Natural Law Party. I have a few ideas on a new series of shorts that I'm going to do. I'm going to do it on minor third parties throughout the country, and also I'm going to do another set of shorts based on what political positions or what topics are most likely going to be most important in the 2024 election. As for the political parties, there are a lot inside the United States. I've been keeping track of them for a while now. But for a lot of these political parties, they generally will endorse a political candidate for president. For example, the Conservative Party of New York has been around since the 1960s, I think like 1969 or so. And they are going to endorse Donald Trump. Presumptively, is what they said. Which means they're going to wait until he actually gets the nomination, but they're going to have theirs in August, and I think the presidential nomination for the GOP is in August. I would have to double check that. It might be later, it might be sooner. I'd have to double check. But the Natural Law Party, like I said, has endorsed the Alliance Party before. And they have endorsed Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for the upcoming election. Now there's some, I hate to say major, I would say secondary candidates or tertiary candidates that are currently running for president. None of them have a snowball chance in hell of actually winning, but they exist. Cornel West being one of them. I cannot imagine any scenario in which Robert F. Kennedy actually wins. That's just not going to happen. I can see him running for the Democrat ticket later on, but given how much his own party has thrown him under the bus, I doubt they could ever take it back because they would have to explain how they got away with smearing him that much. And it's kind of a shame. He would have been okay as president, but he is a super progressive, so he probably would have been worse than Joe Biden is, but at least he would be, no offense to how the man speaks, but at least he can speak, whereas Joe Biden can't. So that's a thing. At least he wouldn't be a complete humiliation for the entire country if he ever got elected. I would never want him to be elected. But, you know what I mean. Anyways, I've talked about the Alliance Party before. And as I was going through political parties to see, like, each individual state, if you go to Ballotpedia, you can see which parties are actually ballot qualified currently, or are a statewide recognized party on Ballotpedia. But there will be more candidates on the ballots in those states as people petition to get their name on the ballot. And obviously that doesn't include any independent candidates either. But as I was going through it, I was looking through all of the socialist parties, specifically to see if they had nominated anybody, because by chance, one of the parties that I wasn't really tracking had nominated Claudia De La Cruz. So I was going through the rest of them, and I noticed an interesting one. One of the socialist parties referred to the Alliance Party as being more progressive than the Democrats. Which, if you go through their political positions, I can kind of see that. But I think they're kind of overselling what the Alliance Party actually stands for. Now, as I said before, I was interested in them because they were partially formed from the Reform Party. Excuse me as I fix that real quick as it's falling over. One of the parties that joined them was the Reform Party. And Donald Trump actually ran on the Reform Party's ticket for president back in like 2000 or 2004. Now, back then, he wasn't a serious political candidate. I think him running back then was more of like a test run and more of a protest against the government at the time, which would make sense. He was really upset about 9/11. I'm pretty sure it was 2004, so yeah. I would have to double check though. He didn't rack up all that many votes. But right after the 2020 election, and I got really turned off by the Republican Party, I almost wanted Donald Trump to join the Alliance Party and run on their ticket because the GOP is just so corrupt. But by now, it's mostly just turned out that Donald Trump has mostly taken over the Republican Party. And a lot of the rhinos like McConnell and Romney are starting to step down or resign, which is really great. I'd rather have a reformed GOP party because it would be easier to work through them than to try to form a new political party. But there is a fascination with me about the idea of a third party arising from all these minor parties joining together for nationwide recognition. And while I would never want the socialist parties to ever come together like that, it would actually be slightly fascinating if all of them just dropped all pretense and joined together. I mean, at least then we would be able to focus more on it. But it is nice that all these socialist parties and communist parties are so disunited. The socialist parties, as I was going through it, one of the socialist parties listed all the candidates that they endorsed. And they endorsed Elizabeth Warren, Cori Bush, Rashida Tlaib, and Ilhan Omar, which is basically all you need to know about those candidates. I just find it so frustrating. One of the states, actually, that I was looking at has like 3 socialist parties in it. And I was like, God, these people are useless. And I would go through all the different parties, and I have a list of them and basically how they're related to each other and how they work together or how they are disunited. Like, I believe it's the Socialist Party of the United States of America is the exact name of it. Or it might be of the United States without the of America in it. Nice blinker, my dude. Anywho, they were formed in the mid-20th century, as I recall, and they had like several times where a splinter group broke off from them to the point where they had basically lost every single bit of their influence because they lost so many people over the decades. So it'd be interesting to go through all of those and just to talk about exactly what those parties are up to. And as for the political positions, like the economy, inflation, military, war, and a bunch of other stuff. I'm currently going through polls to figure out which topics are going to be the most important in the upcoming election. Inflation and the economy is definitely going to be at the top of the list. The only problem is that a lot of these polls do not, hilariously enough, they don't coordinate. Because the topics they'll have, like one poll will have several topics that no other poll asks about. Or one will ask about inflation and the economy. And then another poll will combine those into one. So it's a little bit hard to get an average between all the polls due to that. But I am trying to get as close as I can, just so I can talk about those topics. And I got a list of them that I'll go through. So I think that'll be kind of interesting. Then I'll go through the third-party candidates, what parties have endorsed them, what states those parties are in, and then specifically which of those states will allow that person onto the ballot. So we can kind of break down where the third-party vote is going to go and who and what parties are going to pull from the mainline candidates. As I said yesterday, due to what's going on in Michigan, there should be 5 left-leaning parties on the ballot, which will be Natural Law, the Socialist Workers' Party, I believe it is, might be the Socialist, the Workers' Family Party. I always forget it. It's just some generic socialist party. The Democrat Party. Then you'll have, I said Natural Law, Socialist Party. Then you have the Democrat Party. Then you have the Green Party. And then you should have Cornel West running as a third-party candidate. In theory, unless the Socialist Workers' Party picks him. If they don't pick him, they might pick Claudia de la Cruz, as I said before. And then you'll have the Constitution Party, which is still named the United States Taxpayers here, the Libertarian Party, and then the Republican Party. Now, the Libertarian Party is weird, because after 2020, it wasn't technically after 2020, but in 2020 they picked Joe Jorgensen, who wasn't really that popular. And after the 2022 election, the Libertarians basically had, I'm not going to call it a coup, but it was basically an overturning of establishment. And a more right-leaning, freedom-orientated leadership came about, and 4 states worth of Libertarians broke off. In fact, one of the states, the original Libertarian Party, broke off from the rest of the party. Whereas the 3 other states, the Libertarian Party basically splintered in half. 2 of them seem to have splintered in half, and one of them seemed to have a minor disagreement, or minor splitting. Not like a huge portion of the Libertarian Party, but enough for it to be relevant. But they're not really that talked about in that particular state. I would have to double check on which one it is. But you can't find anything about it on Wikipedia. Generally, when it comes to politics, while Wikipedia cannot be trusted, if it relates to politics, there will be a slant about it on Wikipedia. Generally. Now, that's not always true, because while a lot of these places will, a lot of pages will be made about a political topic, someone can also be removed from Wikipedia for not being notable due to political reasons. For example, Stuttering Craig's brother was removed from Wikipedia because he was no longer notable, which was total like BS. Anyways, that's what I got up and coming. I don't know exactly when I'm gonna get all that done, but I have all these political notes that I have, and I don't really do anything with it. So, and the semester is about to end, so I figure that now would be the time for me to actually start sharing all my notes, just so people will have a better understanding on what's going on and they get the bigger picture of the actual 2024 season. And it's very interesting stuff, at least in my opinion. I mean, I've been working on this stuff for months. I will show it up in a complete notebook of it, and then I have several Excel sheets with oodles and oodles of data, which I think would also fascinate some people. That's on my computer, and I should figure out on how to actually screen cap that stuff. And show you like all the information that I got, but it is pretty fascinating. So anyways, that's it for the update. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.